Series of Sunday documentaries, we raise a glass to the woman behind Britain's favourite landlady in The Truth About Julie Goodyear, containing strong language.
Blue moon,
Panache.
Drool and dribble.
Julie.
cows, bitches.
Gold lame.
Somebody threw a meat pie at me. And it's like,
What's coming out now?
block and tap.
Lazy.
Earlier this year, one of Britain's favourite soaps was struggling. Producers took radical action and brought back one of the show's best-loved characters, but the plan backfired, as actress Julie Goodyear was savaged by the tabloid press. Tonight, Julie exclusively reveals the truth about that shock return, her incredible rise to fame, and a private life that's been every bit as controversial as the character she played.
Same again, cop.
I play the street life because there's no place I can go.
For 25 years, Julie Goodyear was queen of Coronation Street in her incarnation as beehived barmaid Bet Lynch, the most popular character British soap opera has ever known.
Till you play your life away. Oh!
More people could have named who played Bet Lynch than who was Prime Minister of Britain at the time.
What a lovely surprise,
You look better
Prime
than your
Minister.
photograph.
You have these fantastic bazookas.
Hello, good evening, and welcome.
Ah, excellent. Well, it's got you already.
I'm glad you noticed.
Bet Lynch was Coronation Street.
You know, as slime balls go, you're not even original.
If you thought Bet Lynch's life was colourful, you ain't seen nothing until you read the papers and dig up some old cuttings about Julie Goodyear.
Not for nothing am I known as the darling of Fleet Street.
Coronation Street fans would be shocked if they knew what Julie got up to.
And she's lived a wild life, but I'm not going to tell you about it. Not yet. Not till later.
Who's the real Julie Goodyear?
I don't know. I don't think even she knows.
This year, we followed Julie at home, at work, and through her return to Coronation Street to piece together her story as you've never heard or seen it before.
One time for my Julie. Julie. You know me love you, Julie. From me head down to me coolie. You turn me on when you pick up a lamp.
Please, this is a very serious documentary.
What's a documentary?
It's very fly on the wall. All right. Look at him, pretending to be a bloody fly. Oh, does your mother know? Come on.
Now 60 years old,
darling.
Julie Goodyear has never moved away from the small town on the edge of Manchester, where she was raised.
I was born in Haywood and still live here. These are my roots, and there's just something very special about it.
Oh, you filming?
Julie's made a big deal of the fact that she has stayed close to her working class roots. And let's face it, she's never left and gone into tax exile. She's still very much at home up north.
I like my meat well hung.
I know you do. Yeah, I know you like it well hung.
That river beef looks nice.
And that's well hung.
She still lives around here. She still knows the same people.
How are you?
I'm all right, love. Are you?
Yeah, you're a right champion.
Hey, thank you, darling. So do you.
Britain's most famous barmaid was born in Haywood, Lancashire in 1942, the only child of publicans Alice and Bill. By her late teens, she was already something of a local celebrity.
Once she realised what an attractive girl she was, she would test her theories out on the locals.
They used to come from all over here just to see if Julie would be out and about. That was before even she were on TV. Well, lots of boys went out with Julie, yeah. I went out with her. Everybody wanted to go out with Julie.
She met Diddy David Hamilton, the DJ, who was quite a big star in those days.
She came along to a show that I was doing in Manchester, and she sat in a box by the side of the stage, and people couldn't take their eyes off her. She was almost a part of the show, sort of hanging over the edge of the box.
Now it's time to meet our Lady Daredevil.
Anyway, after the show, I took her home. I ran her home in the car to her parents' pub in Haywood, and we had a fumble around in the car, and when we stopped, she offered me a blowjob.
Well, what's up?
My foot's stuck in your glove compartment.
I'm not going to tell you what happened. I mean, a gentleman never tells.
At the age of 17, Julie's love life took the first of many dramatic turns when she fell pregnant to local heartthrob Ray Sutcliffe. In 1959, this was no small matter. A shotgun wedding was swiftly arranged.
There were things like you didn't wear white because you weren't a virgin. So I wore blue, and that was a mark of shame.
I took her wedding pictures, and I still remember Julie being one of the prettiest brides I've ever taken.
There was a very brave little smile painted on, and I was very, very frightened.
And there was worse to come.
I actually did not know how babies were born. So I was waiting with the curtains round the bed in absolute agony for somebody to come round with a knife to cut the baby out. I just didn't know.
Soon after son Gary was born, Ray moved to Australia and was never heard from again.
I was divorced by the time I was 20. And to be honest with you, I wasn't particularly bothered. I certainly didn't shed any tears about that.
He was never a father to him, not as a father is. Do you know what I mean? Sort of Father Christmas in spasms, you know. Still, I shall marry again, of course.
But in the meantime, the single mother made ends meet with all number of part-time jobs, among them modelling.
Julie wanted to be seen. She didn't do anything in a quiet way.
I went to Berry Pally once and grabbed the microphone and launched into Blue Moon. And somebody threw a meat pie at me. I picked it up and I ate it and got a round of applause. And I immediately then decided to entertain.
And the birth of a gritty new drama series made her even more determined.
I remember looking at Coronation Street, going out and thinking, that's mine. I'm having that.
And she did. In 1966, Julie's modelling contacts led her to being offered the part of tomboy machinist Bet Lynch.
I remember her bursting into the Rovers, and she looked more like Hilda Ogden than the bold and brassy Bet we knew of later years.
Hey, they do pies, kid. How much are your pies, love?
Steak and kidney, meat and potato, cheese and onion.
Meat and tater.
When Julie first appeared on Coronation Street, it was big news in Haywood. I suppose we all thought we've got another Gracie Fields like Rochdale had got.
But after just 6 weeks, Julie's lack of formal training saw her fired from the street. So she joined a local theatre company to learn her trade and some harsh lessons from a fearsome producer.
I never got the right props from the market, and I remember I'd borrowed a full dinner service, and because it was wrong, he was so angry. He smashed it piece by piece round me. Tough lessons, but I've never forgotten them.
While treading the boards, Julie also took every TV opportunity that came her way.
Right, that's the last 3 goals of prunes. It's tapioca now.
Well, what are we fighting for?
There's something very wrong this morning if you've got cause for complaint.
Sit down.
She was biding her time, determined to prove the producers of Coronation Street wrong.
Now, don't you hesitate to call if you should want anything. Anything at all.
To get back into Coronation Street was an overwhelming, consuming passion. Yeah, I was determined to get back in, whether they wanted me or not.
Hilarious, heartwarming, searingly honest. The showbiz book of the decade. In tomorrow's Daily Mail, Amanda Barry writes candidly about her extraordinary life.
I'll tell you the truth about my Coronation Street co-stars. The real reason I quit, my carry-ons is Cleopatra.
And with devastating frankness, she reveals for the first time how she learned to be true to herself.
And how I've loved women as well as men.
Moving, inspiring, unflinching. Amanda Barry's own story starts in tomorrow's Daily Mail.
Uncle Ben's. Come on, add some.
New Bold helps your clothes stay incredibly fresh, whatever you come across. It's like doggy smells disappear. Traffic fumes vanish. Smelly smoke? No way. New Bold's built-in conditioner now contains FreshGuard. Even smells that hang around don't stand a chance. Bold with FreshGuard. Freshness that fights back.
Dry, coarse, rebellious hair? Discover hair that's 4 times smoother.
New L'Oreal Elvive Smooth Intense with Neutrilium. Neutrilium contains a unique combination of micro-oils to nourish and calm hair, leaving it 4 times smoother.
With Smooth Intense, my hair is smooth for longer, sleek, and more manageable. For hair that longs to be touched.
New L'Oreal Elvive Smooth Intense.
Because you're worth it.
It's brought my cholesterol down tremendously, which has been quite remarkable.
I was well impressed when my cholesterol level came down.
After only a short time, Flora Proactive is getting great results.
I think it's a plant extract that lowers your cholesterol.
Clinical trials prove Flora Proactive works because its plant sterols cut the amount of cholesterol your body absorbs.
I was surprised how quickly it worked.
Do you realise that my cholesterol is down to 5.1?
Mine's 4.8.
Anyone should give it a go.
Flora Proactive can dramatically cut cholesterol.
Just get on and use it.
Wrinkles?
Forget about wrinkles.
Now there's a new Nivea Visage Anti-Wrinkle Q10. Dual Action Q10 Plus R. With 2 of your skin's own coenzymes. It's clinically proven to visibly reduce the appearance of wrinkles.
I never liked wrinkles anyway.
New Nivea Visage Q10 Plus reduces the appearance of wrinkles in just 4 weeks.
Very kind of you to organise a day trip, Mother.
Oh, I like to do my bit.
On your right is Huffington Hall, and on your left I shall be collecting your entrance money.
Oh, Mrs. Thompson. OAPs get a discount, you know.
That'll be £250, please, madam. You don't want all this change. I'll put it on my Tesco credit card.
You can earn club card points wherever you use your Tesco credit card. So the more you put on it, the more you get back in store.
Collecting for the driver, Mother. Very generous.
Do you take plastic?
The Tesco credit card. Every little helps.
The Prime Minister.
Felt that he deserved the throne.
The Treasurer.
Had the motive.
The General.
Motive, opportunity, and means.
The wife.
Now that the question has been asked, it must be answered.
Who killed Tutankhamun? Revealed Wednesday at 9 on 5.
I'm a long-time woman.
In 1970, Julie Goodyear was spotted by a Coronation Street producer and offered a 3-month contract that would last a quarter of a century.
Go on, ask him the ambition.
What's your ambition?
Do you know you're about as good as the fellow we had, you are? My ambition? Well, having acted on the stage of the community centre, Coronation Street, Weatherfield, I would like to be a famous film star.
I thought I'd won the lottery. Well, I had. You know, I really had.
Julie told me a very funny story about when her first day of filming at Granada, she stood on the pavement hitching a lift into Manchester, and who came along the road but a cement lorry. So he took her right to the gates. Pat Phoenix had just arrived by Rolls, and she turned round to Julie Goodyear and said, "Don't ever try to upstage me again, love."
But Julie had no intention of keeping a low profile.
It was 1970, and for the press call, she wore, what else, a white crocheted mini dress, and the guys' tongues were hanging out.
I was absolutely shit scared. I was completely blown away, you know, by a national press call.
And afterwards she said to me, not bad for a 29-year-old, and she was terrific.
OK, here we go.
No, a bit more on that one.
My makeup girl then was a girl called Lois, and we wanted together to get Bet's look absolutely spot on.
We both on Saturdays used to go down into Rochdale, and of course roaming around Rochdale Market in 1970 were a lot of Bet Lynchers. We both saw these people going around doing it, and we could take elements of this for her character.
And the scriptwriters didn't have to look far when creating Bet's personality.
Knowing the sort of experiences and background that Julie had, it made sense that Bet Lynch should have those experiences herself.
All I have to do is put the bottles under the counter here and wear this dress. Now, who wants a demo? Me.
Julie doesn't need to act. She is Bet Lynch.
The pair had another couple of points in common, and early 70s TV viewers had a new sex symbol.
2 milk stouts, please, love.
Yes, love.
And black and tan.
Certainly.
There was only BBC One and ITV, both timid of showing anything above the knicker line, and that's where Julie came into her own, because let's face it, she has got the best pair of wobbly knockers around.
As a young kid, that's the first thing you see, you know. And I didn't fancy her, but she was a bit sexy, I thought.
2 pies and 2 pints coming up.
2 of this, 2 of that. Things do seem to go in pairs around here.
When she leaned over the bar in a low-cut gown, the cameramen used to call her assets Newton and Ridley.
That's Newton and that's Ridley.
Bet's character soon developed another defining characteristic: heartbreak.
However hard she tried, however many layers of makeup she put on, however low the neckline and high the skirt, would always lose at the end of the day.
Oh, Frank. Bet is the eternal clown, although there's a permanent smile painted on. You know, I like to show the pathos, the other side of the character, when she's deeply hurt.
When I fall in love.
While Bet was busy loving and losing, so was the actress who played her.
Well, when you say marriages, which one?
In 1971, the first man to engage the rising soap star's interest was something of a surprise.
Julie went on holiday with her mum in Blackpool, early 70s this must have been, and she met this character who was quite famous then. He was a bit of a camp comedian called Jack Diamond.
When I first met her, she came along to see the show. Julie being Julie, she went for the front seat. Then we went out after the show, a few parties and a few clubs, and at the end of the week we found that we got very close.
They were well suited because he's the male version of Bet Lynch, Jack Diamond. He is.
The only row that Jack and I ever had was over the bleach. We both used bleach.
He was very odd. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I always assumed he was gay.
Now, you had a birthday recently, didn't you? How old were you?
Well, I'd rather not say, but they had to call a fire brigade in to put the candles out.
How very upsetting.
Not really, 2 of them stayed.
Whatever Jack's act suggested, he and Julie were engaged within a fortnight of meeting each other.
They had a really turbulent relationship because he used to like a drink and she used to like a drink, so I bet you they used to go at each other, hammer and tongs.
It didn't last. I didn't think it would somehow.
And she says, that's it, we're finished, never want to see you again. Stormed off down this staircase. And I sort of looked down over the balcony forlorn, and all of a sudden she stood next to me again. And she said, that's it, I never want to see... I said, you've done this once. She says, not everybody saw me. And stormed off back out.
It was 1972. Jack and Julie had split after a year, but just a few months later, Julie was walking down the aisle with local businessman Tony Rudman.
She was a pin-up girl of a regiment, and they sent a guard of honour for her. She looked stunning in gold lame.
It was a big do, and Granada were paying for it. It was on the front page of the newspaper. And really, it just went horribly wrong.
They had a blazing row in the middle of the reception.
They both got very drunk. She was seen battering him with her bouquet at some point in the car park.
And he stormed off and they were never together again.
The wedding wasn't consummated. And I see Tony pretty regular, and I've never heard him mention the wedding.
Let's have a look at your ring, then. Oh, no, nobody sees it till it's on my finger. It's bad luck.
It's when it's on your finger it's bad luck.
Julie's on-screen persona also had a grounding in the school of hard knocks.
There was something gritty in both Julie and in Bet Lynch.
I know to most of the yobs round here I'm just that blonde scrubber what works behind the bar. The one that gets the bottles off the bottom shelf.
She was very much a role model then for strong, independent women.
I am going to tell Concepta what you get up to when you're away from home, sonny boy.
Many a
downtrodden Lancashire housewife must think, you know, I wish I could be like Bet and tell him, you know.
Bet!
One lie too many, Des. I'd watch it if I was you, love.
But in 1978, the Street's new star disappeared from our screens. Bye-bye. And it could have been for good.
She said to me, Lynn, you're not going to believe me. She said, but I've got what you had, cancer.
Julie Goodyear, Bet Lynch of Coronation Street, has had cervical cancer and a hysterectomy.
I was very, very lucky. A mobile unit came to Granada Television and I joined a queue and just had a cervical smear test. Unfortunately, mine was positive.
Had that gone undetected, had about maximum a year to live. So I was lucky.
Julie returned to Weatherfield in 1980, and her status as Grande Dame of the Street was about to be confirmed.
I'll never forget how absolutely overjoyed and enraptured Julie was to become the tenant of the pub. She felt that whoever played the landlady of the Rove's Return was Queen of the Street.
So what do you want to make those eyes at me for? If they don't mean what they say.
You could never have said that Julie was just on par with the rest of the cast. She soared.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Platinum Princess, the buxom blonde of the Rover's Return, Julie Goodyear.
From the moment Bet Lynch became landlady of the Rovers in the early 80s, Julie Goodyear became soap royalty, an exalted position that would last until the mid-90s.
Julie Goodyear is very much a star of the old school, which is great because, let's face it, there aren't an awful lot of them left.
Petite, there you go. Even icons need a brew.
She's very Norma Desmond. I don't know if you've seen Sunset Boulevard. You can imagine her saying something like, I am big. It's the street that got smaller.
I've never been a sort of I want to be alone. I'm not a Dietrich or some kind of prima donna.
Julie's a prima donna by all means. Prima donnas are exciting to be with.
No offence, Reg, but Jolly Roger won't be flying tonight, OK?
She used to say to me, always do everything you do with panache. I never found out what panache meant, but I said, I'll try. I'll do my best, Julie.
Julie's got the sort of personality that can fill a room, and you can be easily overshadowed by her, and that's intimidating.
Now, who's next?
There is a chill running through every vein whenever her name is mentioned in certain circles.
I think if I were to meet you somewhere, I would feel very intimidated.
Yes.
By
no,
your style.
I know exactly what
Do you know
you're
what
saying,
I
because
mean?
I found this, yes.
I think she's scary, and I think she intends to be scary. I think that's the whole point.
She is
intimidating. Of course I am. I intend to be.
Maybe it is the fact that I'm very outspoken and what you see is what you get that can maybe be intimidating.
You're blushing, Russ.
I know I'm blushing terribly. She used to scare makeup and wardrobe a lot.
Makeup is very important. Costume is very important. If they are crap, then I'm going to kick, you know?
Oh, my God, I'm off. Hurry up. If you ever do anything like that to me again, darling, I shall walk straight off and extract your vocal cords with a blunt knife.
Off-screen, Julie could be just as forthright.
Having arrived early one morning to the security barriers, she waved to the guy, and nothing happened. So at which point she got out of the car and walked around into his office and reached for his lapels and nutted him gently to the floor and pressed the button. The button went in. But the guy asked for it, and Julie is not slow at coming forward when being confronted by dickheads.
If she's difficult, I think it's more a case of knowing what she wants, and she probably doesn't wrap it up politely enough or tactfully enough.
And the devil-may-care attitude extended to Julie's love life.
Alfie, come and get it.
I don't know how many toy boys I had. I know Julie had quite a few herself. I think we went through a few together.
We've had our moments, Julie and I, given the right circumstances. We haven't kind of like gone all the way, but we've had a lot of fun.
Eventually, Julie found a playmate her own age, a street colleague, Bill Gilmore.
She did get engaged briefly to one of the Street's directors. But that bit the dust too.
What am I to do?
And I was getting these calls from the press saying, we hear that Julie Goodyear got married. And I said, no, can't be. She's out of the country.
Julie was abroad, and she was married. After splitting with Bill in 1984, she met up with and married an old flame, mysterious American Richard Scrobb.
We had all the cast in, and she said, I am honoured to call myself Mrs. Richard Scrobb, and I could have embraced her warmly by the jugular.
His personality's always been deeply mysterious. Nobody seemed to get much idea of what he was about.
She got married and then didn't move over there with him. And I remember wanting to say to her, that's a bit strange, isn't it, marrying someone and not living with them, you know? I just couldn't work that one out.
2 years later, the mysterious marriage was over.
I mean, you're in the papers this morning. I mean, it's all about your divorce. I mean, what do you do when you read that?
Well, it is very, very difficult. It isn't easy. Of course it's not.
You mean you are getting a divorce?
Yes, I am, unfortunately.
But despite all the personal problems, Julie always kept up appearances.
She was big on making entrances. She would be late. In the true tradition of all film stars, you know, she would be late.
You could guarantee that Julie had come in last. And what an entrance. She was just opening, hello, everybody, you know, and it was marvellous to watch. She had such a command of people.
If Julie goes to a party, she doesn't want to sidle in and suddenly be discovered by the band having a quiet cigarette. She wants a hush to fall and every eye to look at the entrance as she comes in.
I'm sorry I'm late, Mrs. Walker.
Good heavens!
When she'd be out, the place was electric. Everyone would, you know, be bringing drinks over to her, champagne, and, are you okay, Miss Goodyear? And she literally was being treated like a queen that she is.
But as Julie's fame increased, it became harder and harder to separate fact from fiction.
She turns up in the sequins and the hair and the feathers and the fur, and they go, yes, that's our Julie, or our Bet.
I'll try and get through this interview without calling you Bet.
Thank you.
Bet Lynch was really an extension of Julie Goodyear.
How much of Bet is you, or how much of you is Bet?
I truly haven't got a personality disorder. I know who I am. You might have a problem with it, but I haven't. And if you've got a problem with it, I'll try and help you.
She definitely hides behind that whole bold as brass Bet facade. I don't think we've ever actually seen the real Julie Goodyear.
I don't know what Julie's like, so I'm damn sure the public don't.
Don't you think I look in the mirror plenty of days and know that there's no flipping connection between the face that the whole world sees and what's really me inside?
I think she chooses how much of Julie Goodyear she allows people to see, and there's probably more than one Julie Goodyear. There is the Julie Goodyear who's a great laugh. There's the Julie Goodyear who's probably a nightmare. And there is a private side to her that she'll never, ever let anybody see.
Quite frankly, I've nothing to prove. Or disprove. Nothing. I am what I am.
But with the 90s approaching, life was about to get even tougher for Julie, as the tabloids and the headlines got really scandalous.
Right, cheers, Julie.
It was a simple plan, a plan to save people money by making their finances work together. It meant some homeowners could reduce the length of their mortgage by around 5 years, while others could save £600 a year. And if everyone had Open Plan, the whole country would be billions better off. Open Plan from Barclays.
Villain, victim, fool, you judge. Read Jeffrey Archer's prison diaries written in his cell. The humiliation of a grandee, only in tomorrow's Daily Mail.
In a real Italian pizzeria, the pizza has rich toppings and a crispy, thin base. And that's exactly how Pizza Ristoranti is. Wherever you are. Ristoranti, the pizzeria taste.
Now in the freezer.
Sophie, who'd you like best, Daddy or Chips? Daddy or Chips? Thanks, Mum.
Daddy, chips.
Oh, girls.
Chips.
McCain Oven Chips, the obvious choice.
Your youngest isn't the only one with a creative side. And it's not just your eldest who can express himself. Impressing the neighbours shouldn't be left to your other half. And your auntie needn't be the only one to bring the exotic into the house. Get creative. Sharwood's Stirring Stuff.
Fill up your trolley with Iceland's outstanding October deals. Buy these Young's large cod fish fillets for just $4.99 and get these oven chips, these petit pois, these onion rings, and this apple pie absolutely free. With offers on up to 650 products, you can get bags more for your money.
Mum had to cut up all her credit cards. My dad had to sleep on the sofa. Mum bumped her car again. Mum's got prickly legs. My sister puts cotton oil in her bra. Mum's bum looks like orange peel.
Want to keep them quiet? Give them a Harvest Chewy, the delicious, wholesome cereal bar. And look, they're so happy they're speechless. Harvest Chewy. Chewy stops the chatter.
Intuition, the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Dear Lucy, you just know.
For some, size really does matter.
I'm a professional dwarf. I've been doing it since '76 in every Star Wars film.
I love to act. I love to perform.
Small stars on a big stage. Dwarves in Showbiz. Next Sunday at 9 on 5.
Give us a paper, will you, love? See what's been happening in the great big wide world, although I don't know why I bother. Never seems interested what I've been up to.
Hardly. In the late 80s, the tabloids were obsessed with the adventures of Britain's most controversial soap actress.
Can you imagine the fun and games of actually working in the Granada press office, flicking through day after day, going, oh, what's she done now? What's it all kicked off again? How are we going to put a lid on this?
She keeps the blooming place going. With stories, you know, in the papers.
These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these boots are gonna walk all over you.
In 1986, rumours started to circulate that added a new and sensationalist twist to the stories about Julie's love life.
She'd say to me, Lynn, go and put a love song on for us to dance to, love. And she danced with me, and she used to pull my head into a boob. People are dancing around us, and I'm going, Julie, don't hold me so tight. Because there was words going round that she might possibly be a lesbian.
When is Bet Lynch going to get a boyfriend?
Pardon?
I'm sorry. I don't know why. I just think
Burn shame on you. Is that an offer?
Well, the thought of Julie being a lesbian is just fantastic, isn't it?
The papers got hold of the fact that she was a lesbian. And I used to say, she is not a lesbian. I used to fight over it. She's not a lesbian. I know. She pretends to be.
Saturday today, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
No, Nicker Day, isn't it, Laura? Yeah.
I've never seen Julie, you know, in any situations where I can say she is or she isn't.
Oh, Jill, please. Never thought you cared.
She has had very close friendships with women who perhaps look slightly more masculine than feminine.
Julie was clever enough to manipulate the press more than the press manipulating her. If she thought there was a photographer in the room, she would pick the most unlikely person that she could be seen out with and let the shock effect take over.
You seem to know what you're doing, and I'm sort of getting involved in something I've never actually been involved in.
You mean this is new?
No, this is news.
And as a new decade dawned, the stories got weirder and weirder.
Perhaps one of the most bizarre episodes in Julie's personal life was when she got involved with the late footballer Justin Fashanu, who was completely out of the closet.
Julie likes gay men, she does. So she took to him, he took to her. So it's like, why not, you know?
Justin's friends and teammates here at Torquay are treating the new headlines as a bit of a joke.
We're very realistic, very kind of hopeful, and we're both positive people, and we're enjoying what we're giving to each other.
When you saw Julie and Justin together, it crossed your mind that they'd met in the agent's office and then gone straight from there to the theatrical costume, yes.
All of a sudden he seemed to do the dirty on her and describe their lovemaking in fairly unflattering terms. He really sort of denigrated her. I think he came out of it very badly and she came out of it quite well, and people felt quite sorry for her.
Despite the sort of lurid headlines about whether she fancies Martha or Arthur, whether she's a lesbian, whether she's bi-curious, whether she's bi-what's-it, whatever she is, it's never been confirmed or denied.
No, I don't retaliate. What happens between two people should be sacred. It's between those two people. It's nothing whatsoever to do with you. And it's like,
Clearly not the view of the tabloids. Julie has always been a prime target.
When she goes on holiday, somebody's there with a huge telescope. Look at click, click, click.
She went to Portugal once and she was on the beach and she didn't know somebody was looking at her through long lenses, and she hadn't got a brassiere on. She just got a thong. It's a terrible photo.
it's so bloody rude and intrusive. You know, back off. You know, would they want their bloody wives or girlfriends photographed like that? I don't think so.
I attended a press call with her, and I could hear photographers goading her, wanting her to turn and say, you know, fuck off.
But the smile's got to stay on, otherwise they've got that shot.
We came out, and she broke down in tears, and she said to me, "Why did they do it to me, Danny?"
In 1995, after 25 years of life in front of the cameras, Bet was starting to show signs of fatigue, and Julie was about to make the biggest decision of her life.
I needed to see bloody daylight. I wanted to do my own shopping. I wanted to watch the seasons change.
I get really excited. Baby carrot.
Both for Bet and for Julie, this was a traumatic move.
I thought I could just let go of this place like it was nothing. I mean, it's been my salvation. It's been my life. It actually was very, very emotional and very painful.
As this clip demonstrates.
The reason we all perform, entertain, is for you, the viewers. Thank you so much for this. I love you too. Thank you. I couldn't even say goodbye, you know. I could only say au revoir. I'm going to say au revoir for a little while, with your permission.
Julie's long goodbye climaxed with a must-see moment in TV history.
This was the scene in Edinburgh as the clock approached 7:30.
We're just running home now to watch the telly. 7:30, Coronation Street.
When Judy was leaving, the writers tried several scenarios of how that would come about. And then I was informed that the last scene with Julie was going to be with me. My first reaction was to think, well, I'm the only one whom she thought wouldn't steal the scene.
Good luck, boss.
Good luck, Don.
It was just so touching. It was so heart-wrenching.
Calling the cab's the easy bit.
She was a star to the end.
She left, and it faded to black, and there was a wonderful commercial that came up immediately after it and almost totally broke the mood.
We'd just like to say ta-ra, Chuck, to probably the best large hair in the world.
National Grid have told us that there was a massive surge in electricity at exactly that time, which meant that almost half the country tuned in.
The absolute enormity of it all sunk in when I saw just a sea of faces for that last day. I just couldn't believe it, that there were so many people.
Been brilliant! We all love you!
There was huge crowds shouting, "Don't go, Julie, don't go," and all the rest of it. You know, it was like a day of national mourning.
Put yourself together, love. I'm sure she'll be back at some point.
I just want to borrow those earrings.
Her leaving was immense. I mean, you know, was she going to take the show with her?
The street has survived so many good people going. It's the street that's a star, you know.
She's like an awful lot of people who've left Coronation Street, been there for a long time, and have thought that when they leave the street, there's going to be a fabulous world out there.
And for a while, life was sweet. An MBE for services to television was followed by a contract to present her very own talk show.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Julie Goodyear.
She made a point of deliberately not looking at all like Bet Lynch.
So what's this lot all about? Why are the shutters down at the Rovers and Bet in bed? Because the real Julie Goodyear is here, that's why.
She wanted to demonstrate that there was a whole other person there.
With luck, there'll be laughter, there may be tantrums and tears, but you won't switch off.
They never had the chance. The show didn't make it past a pilot episode that was never broadcast.
People in the end of the day just wanted Bet with a slap on and back behind that bar, not, you know, pretending to be the next Oprah Winfrey.
What sort of men are you after?
I thought it was pretty good, actually. I don't think it was given much of a chance.
Come on, sweetheart.
And neither was her next attempt.
Now, little Christopher was used as a football.
Oh, no, don't say that.
And he was spastic.
I interviewed a lady who had a collection of hedgehogs that she rescued. There was a Chinese Elvis impersonator who sang to me in his restaurant. It was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Once again, the show was shelved, and the only publicity Julie got were allegations that she was sleeping with one of the guests.
And there you were thinking I'd retired. Never.
Julie wasn't going away. In 1997, she co-hosted an agony aunt slot for satellite television.
It was hideously bad.
I'll be chatting to the glamour model who had her boobs enlarged at the age of 17.
She didn't want to hear what they had to say because, as far as she was concerned, it was her show. So the only thing that was important was what she had to say.
I was getting like all stressed out and, you know, traumatical and that.
Well, you would. We weren't bigger than the other.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were more open with me than maybe they would have been with other people, because I wasn't there to judge them. I was just there to listen to their story. Do you actually know who the father of your baby is?
No.
You don't?
No.
So what you're actually telling us is that not only were you experimenting, you were experimenting with more than one partner.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. So you do know this isn't just going to be a doll you can put down.
Eat your heart out, Jerry Springer.
Julie disappeared from our screens and returned to the theatre and the tabloids.
The minute you walked in the joint.
Julie wants hanky-panky with Danny and rub his lamp. And it was this whole story about Julie trying to have sex with me in a toilet.
Give it a good rub, Mother. A good rub?
Good rub. Go on, girl.
Ooh. Just this end. Who the hell's got time to have sex or a relationship with the genie and Aladdin? Oh, come on.
This was where she belonged. If she was going to do anything outside the street, it was going to be on the boards in full drag.
She's like a drag queen. Sorry, Julie. But you are a drag queen. You are.
This is Hannah from Hamburg. These are legs. Wow.
The gays loved Julie as well as Bet Lynch.
And recently, Julie gave her camp followers a treat.
I did a musical, La Cage aux Folles, and sang live on stage every night, playing Jacqueline.
She's up there with Marilyn Monroe as a sort of a gay icon.
Excuse me, Julie. Could I have your autograph, please?
Of course, love. Have you got a pen and a piece of paper?
It's on my thigh.
I don't know.
And the part-time camp icon also found time to achieve something Bet never did.
It's interesting that she's left the street. She's entered into one of the longest relationships she's ever had.
The look of love.
Yes, after 3 marriages and several engagements, Julie has spent the past 6 years with a 33-year-old Hayward local, Scott Brand, who she met when he delivered some plasterboard to her farm.
What if Posh and Beck's that all day? I opened the door and his jaw just dropped. And I said something like, all right, Sonny, you know, put my clothes back on. Was it good for you?
Oh, wonderful.
Eh? Beck's?
Breeze through.
Breeze through.
Swifter than vacuum.
I hear now that she's going out with a toy boy. So, if you are, Julie, good on you. And remember, when his motor runs out, get a new one next year. That's what I do.
Oh.
3 minutes.
Scene 3.
No! No! Now behave. He never, ever seems, and has never seemed a toy boy to me. He's sort of 33 going on 90, you know, and I'm saying, let's do this, shall we go there? And it's, oh, God, do we have to? You know, I think, come on, you old bugger.
The fact that he's so much younger than her, he is quite malleable, which she expects.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
According to her, they have blazing rows.
No need to knock me about.
Oh, don't start now.
I'm not starting now.
Don't start.
I'm not. Nearly done it. We always have another.
She might only have one hand, love, but she's throwing him at me.
I have been married 3 times, none of which have lasted as long as the length of time I've been with Scott. Perhaps the reason that it's worked and that it's lasted is because I haven't been in a concentrated working situation. So I've been able to spend time on a relationship. You know how they say, with buttercups, I'm going to put this under your chin to see if you like butter. Right, well, I'm going to put this under your chin to see if you want to wee the bed.
No.
I think it's quite appropriate that Julie appears to be ending her own days with a man, half her age, and I suppose she always has been living proof there is life in the old dog yet.
But despite finding contentment at home, professionally, there was still someone missing.
Look at the pair of us.
Nutters.
Tell you. Real nutters.
I would imagine that in the 7 years she's probably missed, you know, the power of Bet Lynch.
I did begin to realise that there was unfinished business for Bet.
And as luck would have it, earlier this year, after 7 years away from the limelight, Julie was invited back to boost viewing figures.
It's true. Britain's brassiest barmaid is set to return to Coronation Street.
I thought, oh, God, it's going to be Bet Lynch again.
I did tell these chappies what size it was, you know.
Not bothered. 38D. As Bet would say, too much is not enough. I am very much looking forward to playing Bet again. I'm sure she won't be disappointing the viewers.
Looks like it's nearly time to change our Brita filter cartridge.
How do you know?
Because that memo thing is telling us.
How long does a Brita cartridge last?
About a month for the average family.
And are we the average family?
No. But we could work on it.
Brita. It's clear from the taste. I never know when a new song is likely to strike me, but when it does, I have to pounce like a rock tiger. What's happening? Guitar, now!
Stop the car!
At Argos, we're now introducing quick pay kiosks that let you bypass the checkouts.
Is that everything? Thanks.
Cramping my style.
I'm in my car! Quick pay kiosks, just one of the ways we're making shopping easier.
Fake, lifeless hair colour, what a turn-off. Discover light-reflecting colour with Garnier Lumia. The only permanent colour with honey and flower extracts and light-reflecting technology. Light-reflecting Lumia is like sunlight rippling through your hair. Light-reflecting Lumia gives beautiful contrasts. Garnier Lumia. Real colour, it's natural, just like you. Garnier Lumia. Turn your hair onto light-reflecting colour. Garnier.
All right, Gran.
I bake the pies in this family.
What will Granny do? Now you've discovered microbake.
Hilarious, heartwarming, searingly honest. The showbiz book of the decade. In tomorrow's Daily Mail, Amanda Barry writes candidly about her extraordinary life.
I'll tell you the truth about my Coronation Street co-stars. The real reason I quit, my carry-ons is Cleopatra.
And with devastating frankness, she reveals for the first time how she learned to be true to herself.
And how I've loved women as well as men.
Moving, inspiring, unflinching. Amanda Barry's own story starts in tomorrow's Daily Mail.
You didn't see the match on Saturday, did you? Yeah, but did you see your own goal? Man, you look so stupid. Look on the keeper's face.
You can't treat them like babies forever.
I'll see you later for a cup of tea. Right, come on, Pumpkin.
Ready? But you can treat them to a healthy, nutritious breakfast.
Come on, go on then.
Let them glow with Ready Break.
Delicious, creamy and full of probiotics. Muller Vitality, the yogurt that loves you back.
Psycho killer,
Hi, Julie. Hi, darling.
Spring 2002, and Julie's hometown is buzzing with the news of her return to the street after a 7-year absence.
Are you back? Oh, brilliant.
She was very, very nervous. She also had a indefatigable belief in herself that she was going in to save Coronation Street.
I went back because I was asked to go back, to help.
The advertising was as OTT as the woman herself.
Life on the street is about to get even more interesting.
You can bet your life on it.
It was really making a fanfare for her coming back, and perhaps a sign of desperation.
It was only at the actual press launch that I realised that there was something very, very wrong. I could smell it. The guns were out. They were going to really have a go.
But to begin with, the most eagerly awaited comeback in soap opera history looked like it was working.
I'm going to Weatherfield, Cock. Pub called The Rover's Return, Coronation Street, if you know it.
When she first came back, I remember that first line like that. She walked in and she said, "Yes, you're right. Give that lady a coconut."
Correct. Give that girl a coconut.
It was pure theatre. I thought it was brilliant. And the ratings just soared because she was one of the big draws, if you pardon the expression.
But the one-time sex bomb had been given a new image, and not everyone liked it.
I don't know what Julie was thinking of, letting her make her like that. She did look like a transvestite, and she looked so old. All that massive makeup and everything on, and those bloody great long eyelashes, flap them and you were 10 foot up in the sky.
There were several big mistakes. The close-up camera work was ridiculous. I mean, you can make anybody look as good or as bad as you want in a film studio.
She jarred slightly with the rest of the show.
Karen's bet.
You married this fella, did you?
She was a dinosaur from Coronation Street's past, and I think it's a dinosaur that we could have done without being exhumed, to be honest. And I'm a huge fan.
My place is just down the street.
No. Your place is on the stone.
All right, grumpy draws.
The character, when she came back this time, was really aggressive and really nasty. And I'm not quite sure where the writers were going with that.
When I wrote Julie's comeback episodes, we wanted to use the feeling of failure, that I'm back where I started in this little back street.
Phil's the reason that I've had to come back to this godforsaken hole without a penny to my name and my self-respect in shreds.
The old saying is, the best chef in Paris can't make cakes from shit. And that's absolutely true, and I think what they gave to her was a load of shit.
I had people like Johnny Spattersby say, "Who's the old slapper in the corner?"
Hey, Gail, who's the old slapper there, you mum?
Because I thought some of the hostile press might think that. And I wanted to give it a voice.
He couldn't have been more right, and the press couldn't have been more hostile.
I got the feeling that people had met her and didn't like her and were prepared to bury her.
Whatever's happened to her is of her own making, and if she's not happy, I suspect that's more to do with her than anybody else.
The criticism was very much directed at Julie, not at the show, at Julie herself, the person and the actress.
I've never seen the British press rip into anybody the same as they did to Julie Goodyear. God, do you think she was a mass murderer, the way they went on about it?
I think I had worse press than Harold Shipman and Mara Hindley put together, which sounds crazy, because what had I done?
But this being Julie, there was no shortage of behind-the-scenes rumours for the press to feed on as well.
All right, I'm coming. Keep your flaming hair on.
One poor old actor had to give up his dressing room for her. The actor who plays Norris. She wanted that dressing room, so she did get it.
It's Mrs. Gilroy, isn't it?
The one and only.
There was a story going around that when a very fresh-faced young director came to introduce himself to the cast, Julie slapped her knee and said, "Sit on that cock," and prepared to give him maternal feed.
She wanted to be able to smoke, and it's no smoking. If it's a rule for one person, it's got to be a rule for everyone. But I think Miss Goodyear thinks maybe that she should be exempt from that rule.
Anybody think I was snorting a line of coke or something? So your silk coat. Bloody hell.
Julie wanted star treatment and felt she didn't get it.
Boy, had it changed. And by saying that, I don't want it to make it sound as though I'm demanding things that, quite frankly, I think should be in place anyway. They should be there. They used to be. Where have they gone now?
People do change.
I've not.
No, you've not, have you?
Just 2 months and 10 episodes into her new contract, Julie suddenly disappeared on sick leave.
To bed.
Absent friends, love. Well, she gone off again. Honestly, you never know where you are with that one.
She was an emotional wreck. She was filming 12 scenes a day, and she collapsed.
I'm not saying, oh, poor me, but it was the sheer volume. I literally could not keep up. And my doctor just said, no way. Your health is far more important.
She must have known it was going to be hard work. She's an actress, for goodness sake. That's what it is. You know, the street is a punishing schedule, like every soap these days.
I felt so bad it wasn't true. I felt terrible. I felt I'd let everybody down.
Many assumed that this was the end of the street for Bette Lynch.
For Julie's sake, I would think it would be better that we were left with the good memories.
Every bitch has its day, Betty. Isn't that what they say?
I hope I'm wrong, but I'll be surprised if she does come back to Coronation Street.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted. After sort of lengthy discussions, they would like me to come back next year and make guest appearances. It's down to them, it's up to them now.
Either way, the viewing public will never forget Bette, or the equally outrageous woman who played her.
She will be remembered by one part only. She will be remembered as Bette Lynch.
Enjoy your visit. You too.
For the rest of her life. There won't be a time when Julie is not recognised in this.
Are optimistic.